this feels so vulnerable for me to even speak about, because at my big old age, I can't believe I'm just like, you know, I was groomed and I felt groomed, not just by a man, but a man of God. I have sat through months of self doubt and self gaslight, and there was a point I was even asking myself and asking God, am I judging these one too much? Like, am I judging too much? But we are all sinners. Hakuna mtu perfect. Hakuna mtu perfect, right? But when I'm out of it is when I have just looked back at everything that he did and said how it was so intentional and how he wanted it to lead to something. He wanted something out of it. It could be just feeding, just feeding his ego with having a sense of control over someone, even sexual. I feel so vulnerable. I feel so vulnerable because I'm just like, someone said that I talked to someone about this, and someone told me that I was being played on. No, there's when we're talking about someone leading you on, there isn't such a power disparity between both of you. But when it comes to grooming, there's someone who's like, there's such a big and such a great and major power imbalance between like both of you. And the the very first interactions that I had with this man, I I found myself picking up tendencies of manipulation, tendencies, narcissistic tendencies. I could easily tell this is a man who will manipulate you. This is a man who will use you, abuse you, misuse you, right? But he's a man of God, right? I'm overthinking. He's a man of God, right? He's a man of God. I'm overthinking. He's a man of God. I'm overthinking. He's a man of God. I'm overthinking. And I could easily observe that this is something that he would be doing with even other girls around. I remember I remember tulikuwa tumetoka meeting, alikuwa ameniambia twende. It wasn't just me, it was me and a group of others. So when we went, the meeting ended and it was late, so we came back. Tukikuja tulibaki watu wawili kwa gari. I was the last person to be dropped home. So he was having a conversation with the guy, and the guy was behind, so me, I was sitting a passenger seat. Yeah, and they were having a conversation. I remember just listening in, and I asked him a question, and when I asked him, he he responded whatever he responded, and then he touched my thighs. I was like, I'm overthinking, right? I'm overthinking, right? I'm overthinking, right? That was a mistake. He's a man of God. I'm overthinking. He just did it by mistake. So he drops me home, and when tuko hapo kwa gate nataka kutoka, he's like, thank you for coming, sijui blah blah blah. And I was like, thank you for the opportunity to be with you during that time. And then I don't remember what he said, and then he said, I love you. I was like, I love you. In my mind, I was like, I love you. Like, because we never had such a major interaction for him to even say something like that. So I'm like, hata kama ni upendo wa Kristo jamani, boundaries, right? Na si kama ni upendo wa Kristo si angesema I love you with the love of Christ, right? And so in my mind I was like, I love you. So me, what I ended up saying, I was like, we love you. I'm like, me and the guys that not here that we were with before, we love you, right? So me nikatoka, and that is something that I never thought about kutoka hapo. The other time is we're in a meeting, we're praying, right? We're praying to go in circles, in a group, in circles, in groups of circles, whatever. We're praying, and he comes to where I am. Sisi tumefunga macho, tunainua mikono, tunaomba Mungu Baba, shuka tendea hii muji tuko. So he holds my waist, but the way that he does it, I could feel there was something so unholy about the way he touched me. I was like, wait. Actually, wait. In my mind, I'm like, wait. This is a mistake, right? This is a mistake, right? Right? Me, because hata nilishindwa kuomba, because like, what else should I pray now? Because this is a mistake, right? So anyways, I go home, and I feel so vulnerable. I go home, and I just talk myself out of it, and I'm like, you're just overthinking, this is a pastor and whatever. But anyway, every other thing that followed, even the way that he talked and the calls that he made, to try and see would she possibly, anaweza nipatia access to her life, to her mind, to her emotions. Yes, everything else I could actually see patterns and things that he intentionally did so that he could have access to my life. I just want to thank God that he got me out before it ever got to the extremities of it, because I don't know how I could have handled the emotional, mental, physical turmoil that comes with that. And then, uko kwa legal age, but you're above to 18. This is not something that you could easily report, like, to the police if something happened, right? And also, I have had to see through months of self-doubt and self-gaslight. And I was even asking myself and asking God, am I judging too much? Because actually I had a moment where I just asked him about it, and he was like, I did it. Do you want me to do it again? And that is the moment I realized he was never remorseful about it. He knew exactly what he was doing from the very beginning. There was not a repentant heart that he had. And I have had to sit through months of self-doubt and self-gaslight, and actually sitting through, like, I was groomed. I actually was being groomed. I mean, thank God it never got to the extremities of it, but I was groomed. So anyways, in my mind, I'm like, am I judging this guy too much? you know, am I judging him too much? He's a pastor. But then, unajua, hakuna mtu perfect, right? Hakuna mtu perfect. Why? But it's when, God told me, like, you will know them by their fruits. And that freed me. And I was like, he knew what he was doing from the very beginning, and it was intentional. And as much as there is so much anointing over him, it still doesn't mean that what he did was right. It still doesn't mean that, because I was trying to find a balance and trying to separate the man from the anointing so that I can be able to kind of concentrate and even listen. But there is such a big conflict within me that, anyways, I just had to leave. But and also the thing with, like, these perpetrators and groomers, whatever they are, is that they have a crowd around them, they have an army around them, so that and if you would ever rise to say something like this happened, they have people who know what exactly this man is doing, but they will defend him. Secondly, is they have people who are brainwashed, or they can see but they can't really see, they are going to defend him. So if he tells the crowd that, you're lying, that is what it's going to be. So yeah, be careful, because especially be careful even in moments of vulnerability, who you allow to have access to your life. Be careful, because the perpetrators really look for people who are vulnerable, and people who are vulnerable basically are susceptible to these kinds of abuse. Yeah, man, that is so vulnerable for me to share.